So the first, Michael, do you have the agenda?
I do.
Okay. Usually we have Jim who joins us um, in these meetings who represents the public in most of our
Sure.
meetings.
Mhm.
And he may still sign on. So I'm just going to skip over that public comment. Obviously, there are no citizens involved in this Zoom call, I should say. Oh, unless you want to be a citizen, Michael.
I don't consider myself a citizen of Bristol, so I do not feel like I have a standing to make comments.
Okay. Approved agenda, we'll hold on that. Approved September meeting minutes, we'll hold on that. I'm going to skip down to All Earth Renewables site visit. There was some emails back and forth. Michael, are you familiar with All Earth Renewables?
I'm not, but just keep going. It's all good.
Okay, so this is a company that's in Bristol. It's behind the fire department, and they do solar trackers, and I think they use some other solar elements for charging or for for photovoltaics, and they are offering us a site visit of their factory, of their site. So we were thinking of having a meeting there, but we decided that was too technically kind of crazy to have. We'd have to invite the public and blah, blah, blah. So we decided not to do that, but we'll just do a tour. So tentatively, I see in the email chat that there was a offer for September 15th. I'm sorry, September 15th, November 15th, which I think is a Saturday.
Yep, I think that's right.
So I don't know anything more about it than that. That was just an idea on the table. So I think we'll, barring any new information, I guess we would just note that and see what people's availability is. I didn't see anyone really responding to it, so I'm not sure if it's a good date or I can make it. Dan, can you make that?
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I responded or not, but yeah, I think it sounded like there was a few people who might be able to pull off that date, which would be great.
Okay. I'm going to skip down then all the way down to the second from the bottom, the MERP, which I'm part of that project. And so the update is that last month they were putting together a basis of design for the mechanical design of Holly Hall and the library. And I think that has now been finalized, and now they are looking for a construction manager to manage both projects, to do the energy improvements and mechanical upgrades that are in the scope of work. And it's unfortunately we have I'm not sure the library is really tied to this, but Holly Hall has a standing responsibility to have the town hall meeting. So that construction really can't happen until town hall meeting of next year. Next, is that April?
March, I think.
When is town hall meeting? I don't remember what that day. But anyway, they have basically 26 weeks from that date to December 31st of 26 to spend all the money in this MERP grant. The library has a little bit different, that's for Holly Hall, and the library has a little bit of a different grant, but I believe they're going to bring both projects on the same track. So they are looking, I think they're going to reach out to Silver Maple in Middlebury to see if they are able and willing to be the construction manager for the project. The construction manager would just basically get different trades, et cetera, together, bring them all together. They would be managing the project. They wouldn't actually be doing the project. So they would be responsible for sourcing all these different trades, et cetera, to do the project. And usually there's a fixed budget that they're working against. So that is where we stand on that project. It's, I guess, given that we can't really start until next spring, doesn't seem like that we're necessarily behind, but it has gotten a little bit slower, I would say. I think Allison, if she was here, would say the same thing, that we thought, well, you just be in there, we're going to get drawings and all this kind of stuff. So there were some drawings that were issued. They were kind of preliminary stuff, but I think so. I know that they're working on it, but hopefully we'll get all the documents finalized, and then this project manager can start reaching out to, or whoever we get. I can't remember. Oh, I guess they. Yes, November 3rd is when they're. Boy, that's really quick. November 3rd, they're thinking of awarding this, so they don't have a lot of time. 2 weeks.
David, is there any concern that you said silver maple, but is there concern that there may not be a construction manager out there? You just also mentioned November 3rd, which is right around the corner at this point. And if, I mean, I guess if work at least on Holly Hall can't start and for several months now, maybe it's not as big a deal, but I guess if the timetable still needs to be adhered to, that's not far from now, November 3rd.
No, it's not. It's true.
And I know we've had some issues with like contracting our contractors kind of being few and far between, or just not willing to take up on a project this size. Is that kind of the same concern on the construction manager end of things?
I think so, Dan. I'm not sure. I would think that they have done some reaching out to Silver Maple already, get a feel for it, and putting together this RFP for these services, construction management services. I'm guessing they've already spoken to them about it, and so there is some interest. There is that possibility for sure that they will turn it down, and then we'll be where we were, last year when we were talking about this, and we're all concerned about. We had five companies, and they all turned it down, including Silver Maple, to just be the GC of the project. So I don't know what has changed. I haven't been privy to any kind of meetings with them or discussions with the town and Silver Maple, but I could say I'm guessing, but maybe I should say I'm hoping that they've had this outreach already.
Yeah.
So there's at least a good chance that they'll be the construction manager, and maybe there is another too. I remember seeing the name Silver Maple mentioned in the correspondence, but I don't know if there's anyone else out there. If you know of somebody, please let us know.
No, I don't. I just kind of like you said earlier, end of 2026, the money situation changes, so it would be a real bummer to get all that awarded and then not be able to make it, see it through.
One thing about this project is that the monies that were awarded in the grant are about 2/3 of what we had requested. So the town is making up the rest of it. So that part of the project, let's say we can get 2/3 of the scope done, So we buy all the equipment, we put it, maybe we're putting it in, we do the exterior insulation, et cetera, or at least start it. And we've gone through 2/3 of the budget, and that could all be the MERP money. So
Mhm.
it could go on beyond the December 31st. It just we can't source any more of the money
Mm,
from the
gotcha.
grant. So we have to spend the grant. So one good thing is that the grant will pay for the architect's fees, which we're paying for now.
Hmm.
We'll pay for any kind of special studies that we have to do, like we're bringing in a building science consultant. So his fees will also be, or at least whatever whatever scope he actually is able to do in that time. There'll probably be some ongoing, the architect as well is ongoing. So they'll continue to bill on a monthly basis. So at some point, the town will pick up those kind of fees too,
Gotcha.
up to 31st. But at least we'll be able to maybe spend that money. It's not like the project has to be done 31st, but we can at least get that money spent ahead of time.
Okay, that's helpful. That's
Yeah.
breathe a little easier.
Well, I don't have any update on EV chargers. Dan, do you know anything about?
No, not since our last meeting, actually, unfortunately. Certainly would like to see that move along, though. I know I'm
Yeah,
not
there
alone in
was
that regard.
there was that talk last month, and Richard was going to try to get. It was a woman from pollinator group. Can't
Yep.
remember.
Yep.
Um, to be involved, and my husband Ed and myself involved in the path improvements from where the EV chargers would be located to areas that serve like the Shaw's and Bristol Beverage and that area.
Yep.
So going from there to there. So I have not heard anything about it. Maybe I'll reach out to Richard. He had mentioned it, and I said it was right before I was going to go on vacation, and I had said that I was going to be available that next week, but after that I hadn't really heard anything. So I don't know if they met or anything about it. So I'll reach out to him. Town energy plan grant. Ben had mentioned that he hadn't heard anything about it, anything more about it. So I'm just going to leave it at that. We don't know where that stands right now, so that's probably something to follow up on as well.
David, I'm gonna dive in a little bit on that one. So I'm the chair of the Middlebury Energy Committee as well as part of this. And so we invited Jolyon Larson to come to our meeting to just update us on where things stood. So it was very illuminating, shall we say, to just understand like what we're getting, because we're in part of that grant as well. And it was, as I said, illuminating to find out like what the approach is, what the deliverables are, and what's needed, what the obligations of the town and the town energy committee are in terms of finishing this all up. So I don't want to presume, but I would highly recommend inviting Jolyon to come to one of your meetings and say like, what have you done? Where are you going? What are the deliverables? And what do you need from us to make this happen? And it was a very productive, really interesting, a little sobering conversation. I ended up, I unfortunately it was recorded, so I'm afraid like I will be immortal, forever recorded as saying like, this sounds like a Soviet 10-year plan. So there's a little bit of like the state has these goals, And so they they set targets, and then they go to the regional planning commissions and they say, like, here's how you're going to contribute to these targets. And then the regional planning commissions turn around and say to the towns, this is your contribution to hit the targets that we have to hit that are part of the state plan. And we were like, wow, that is not really how we operate normally. So it would be good just to kind of level set and understand what this process actually means and what's entailed.
Okay, that's, I know we've had some conversations with Jolien, even informally, like at the Regen's Energy Fair. He was there. We talked, several of us who were there, talked to him a little bit. And it seemed like
Yeah.
kind of early stages at that time of thinking about it, but all right, that's good. All right. Only one last thing there left. Is the Energy Navigator project.
All right. Yeah. So
I'm sorry, I thought we should wait until see if someone else
see if
comes
somebody
up.
else shows up. If it's not like
Ron
by,
showing up, so
that's okay. It's all
you're
good.
on.
I
You're
love
on.
I love hearing about what happens in other energy committees because it makes me feel better. Because like we struggle as well to get people to show up and get people to do work, and it's all good. So I don't know if either of you are familiar with the Energy Navigator program at all. I guess so. It's partly I would start by just asking, like, are we starting from zero? Are we starting from like vague familiarity, or like deep knowledge?
Well, I think we just this summer had an event that was Energy Navigators Plus. I'm forgetting what the other team was that was kind of the co co-host of the event.
Okay,
And we had I can't remember names this
probably
quickly.
Shannon.
Shannon, I thought it was a different name.
Adalia.
Yes, yes,
Adalia. Yes, very good.
yes. They were at our meeting maybe in, I don't know, April, May, something like that.
Okay.
And part of it was planning the event that we had in June, I guess, and then part of it was getting a lot of background on I believe it was the Navigator project.
Okay.
Yeah. What? And so we're somewhat familiar with it, but you might want to do just an overview as a setup for.
Sure thing. So this woman, Jean Terwilliger, who is an architect and building science person in Cornwall. Oh goodness, my lights are, what's going on? I'm trying to get my lights back. I'm worried I've ruined my battery. Hold
An
on.
electric car. You're not in an electric car, are you?
Okay. I'm really not a fan of idling. But
run out. Let me see what happens. Okay, we're good. I really don't want idle. So she started this program around doing these kind of one-on-one consultations with residents to help them figure out how do you make a plan, how do you act on the plan, how do you connect to all the different financial programs, how do you connect to contractors, and depending on how you measure things, it's been fairly successful. We've had a lot of, we've reached about 180 different households. We've gotten people to actually take action, and so we feel, and this is something that's happening both across New England and nationally, like this notion of energy coaching, having volunteers, having people in the community supported by a professional organization, feels like a really productive way to kind of electrify, decarbonize, get people to save money, be more comfortable, and by the way, reduce the amount of carbon that they're emitting into the planet. So we've been raising money. We've gotten some money from the DOE. We've gotten some money from some private grants. We're starting it's very preliminary, having conversations with Efficiency Vermont about like, is it possible to imagine getting some funding to support this longer term? So we are funded through the end of, I think, December of 26. So we're okay for a little while. So we have a little bit of runway, but we're starting to think about like, what would a long-term sustainability plan look like for this? We're also having conversations with, at a state level about like, what would it look like to build this program up so that it's something that operates at a state level, and finding the right balance between kind of the hyper local and kind of shared infrastructure that's needed to make this sort of thing happen. And so one of the ways that we're imagining this to become sustainable is to think about going to individual towns and asking them, in the same way that they fund the food shelf and they fund the ambulance, would they be willing to write some degree of support into their town budget? And we're not in any way thinking that this is going to solve our financial challenges, but we're thinking that it's a nice complement. It also builds a relationship with these towns so that we are able to stay engaged and be able to show results. And so this fall, my job is to like go door to door to some of the larger towns in Addison County and say, what would this look like? Is this like, in terms of your own receptivity to supporting your residents and helping them to electrify and decarbonize, do you feel like you've got this, you're all set, you're doing a great job locally, or we're fine, Efficiency Vermont has got us covered, or is there in fact a gap? And so I think, obviously I'm biased. I think there's a gap where this organization that's, bigger than a town, a tiny Vermont town, but smaller than a statewide utility, is necessary to help the local community sort of figure out what's the path forward to decarbonize and electrify. So I've spoke with the town clerk at Bristol to sort of say, like, how do you do this in Bristol? She says that we would need to collect between 165 and 170 signatures of voters in Bristol, and that you can then get on the ballot and people can say, like, we, the good people of Bristol, would like to give the Energy Navigator program some number of, 3,000, let's just name a number, $3,000 in order to support our work in Bristol, to help the people of Bristol do that. In Middlebury, as I said, I'm the chair of the Energy Committee. I think we're going to take the path. We have a budget already, and so we are just going to go to the select board and the town manager and say, we would like extra money. I mean, it's not voted on, so I'm maybe getting a little ahead of myself, but we're going to probably not do the ballot initiative and collect signatures, but instead try to get that built into our budget. I don't know if you all have a budget to speak of. Like if the Bristol Energy Committee already has a budget, you could, if you do, you could just say, we would like to have it increased in order to support this program, which will support the folk in Bristol. If you don't have a budget, you could also just say, like, we would like a budget and this is how we would use it. Or we could also talk through, do we want to go through collecting signatures? I'm not terribly optimistic that, like, Mike from Middlebury is going to be very successful in collecting 170 signatures from people in Bristol. So that's why it feels like in my conversation with Sally, it seemed to me that, like, you, the Energy Committee, would have to talk about, like, do we think this is worthwhile? Is this something that would be supportive of our goals? And if so, are you, and we would support you, but are you willing to, like, stand outside Shaw's on a Saturday morning and with your clipboard to get people to sign the signature? Or are you willing to, like, talk to the select board about, are they willing to fund this? So my intent here is, like, it's early enough, it's not all due. I think all the signatures are due mid-January. I think like January 19th might be the date. So we have a little bit of time to talk this through. And so I wanted to start by just like putting it out there and saying like, you all need to like think about this. This is it's an opportunity if your mission of your committee is to try to help the residents and this is very much aimed at the residential sector. So it's not really aimed at commercial or industrial. If this is a goal, this would be one way to achieve that goal would be to support our program.
Is your program, Mike, is it just residential?
It is right now, for sure.
Okay. As I understand
Hold on one
it-
second. I'm switching. My audio is messed up. Hold on. Try again.
Okay. As I understand it, well, first of all, we don't have a budget, really, the Energy Committee.
Oh, hold on. I'm having audio problems. Just one second.
Okay.
Try again.
So we don't have a budget, the Energy Committee. And as I understand it, whether or not we would get a budget, or the town would budget, I think this is what the town clerk was asserting, this getting on the ballot is basically a town meeting, and that's where
That's right.
all the budget items are approved.
Yep.
Anything additional, like, there's an initiative to give to the food shelf. Let's
Yep.
give them some extra money. It's a blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
So, boy, I mean, I would be happy to be out by Shaw's and doing
All right.
But January 19th, wow, it's really closing in on us. I mean, I don't want to be out there January 19th.
That's right. No, that's right. So my plan had been to have these conversations in October, and then in November and December work with each of the towns. So the towns I'm talking to are Middlebury, Virgins, Bristol, Brandon, Weybridge, just because we're very well connected to Weybridge and Cornwall, again, just because they're very proximate. It's like, do you remember the whole story? I think it was like, was it Willie Hut? Was one of those bank robbers was asked like, why do you rob banks? And like, that's where the money is. So like, we're not going to Whiting because Whiting has no money.
Wow.
Right. That's pretty. So it doesn't seem like it would be terribly onerous to do 170 signatures. I mean, maybe it will be. I don't know.
I mean, I'm right here at Bristol Co-housing, and there's 25 adults here, and I can get every single one of them. So that's
a start.
an eighth of the way, maybe 7.
Yeah.
So how would we start first step would be our committee would basically commit themselves to trying to get signatures to get this on the town ballot.
Yeah, and I'm happy to help you. So I'm happy to like help you. I would not claim any expertise. So like you could do this all on your own, but basically going to the town clerk, she mentioned, and I think it's right, and we're doing the same thing, is like, it's a courtesy to like tell the select board about this because they're building a budget. And so they would want to know if there's going to be an additional ask, they should know that this is in motion. And then there's very specific statutory language about how you write the petition. So I can help you with that, or the town clerk can help you with that, just to make sure that it's like when you show up. So basically you show up, you bring all of this stuff to the town clerk, and the town clerk will either say, you did it right or you didn't. And so the idea is to make sure that the language on the petition is correct, so that when you show up with the 165 signatures, she doesn't turn around and say, sorry, the language is wrong. But that's not hard. Like, this isn't rocket science. It'll be pretty simple.
Okay.
one of my neighbors here, actually the person who lives right above me, just did the signature two-step last year for the mentor program here. So I'm sure she could give some pointers on, how to not only successfully write it, but how to chase down people and get those signatures.
That'd be great. And the other thing that she told me, which I think is different than in Middlebury, is you have to do this for 3 years straight. And then so that the first year they'll give you the money. The second year you got to go collect the signatures again. The third year, and then as long as you don't ask for more money after year 3, they will accept that like the people of Bristol would like to do this. So you don't have to keep collecting the signatures. But there
Right.
it is. I'm just in like full disclosure. If we wanted to do this more than 1 year, and my hope is like I don't need 1 year of money. I want this to be part of how our towns function. We'll have to do it 3 times in Bristol, and then at that point, as long as we don't ask for an increase, it's kind of baked in. I mean, and I guess I should also say it's baked into town meeting, but then those are all line items so that people still, it just because you got the signatures doesn't mean you get the money. It just means you're on the ballot. And then every year they decide what they're going to approve or not.
And then you can get a friend to say, actually, I think they should get $2,000 instead of $1,000.
There you go. That's right. I mean, and I will tell you the other thing that I've been thinking about is like independent of whether or not we get the money, we have brochures, which I have in my backpack and I would have handed to you, but we're on Zoom, so I cannot hand you a brochure over Zoom. When you're pitching, when you're asking somebody for the signature, you also can give them a brochure, and that will then help them understand that this program is available to them. And so there's also a way of using it as a way to just convince people to get involved and to take the next step in terms of their home improvements.
Yeah, sounds great.
I could see, some of the Bristol events that we have over the course of the holiday season. We do, what is it, chocolate walk, and I don't know, they're all they either rhyme or they have alliteration for getting people to downtown.
Yeah.
Spend their money. So maybe that's another thing, and that there's where the brochures can come into play there too. So
yeah, that's great.
it
So
seems
that's
like
my
we should be able
story.
to get that number of signatures.
I
Yeah,
think so too.
cool.
If each one of committee members gets 25, Dan, you're already set.
Yeah, I like
I
that.
think I could get 25.
Yeah.
Um,
Sally could definitely get 25. I definitely can count on Sally.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
every one of her clients, everyone she sees on the street.
That's right. That's right.
She's
We'll
pretty
do
good.
the site visit at All Earth, and we'll get everybody who works there.
Yeah, everyone that works there. Hopefully they are Bristol. I assume they have to be Bristol residents.
They have to be Bristol. They have to be registered voters.
Sure. Oh, okay.
No
Registered
pets.
voters. Okay.
No pets, no children.
No pets, no kids. Okay. Well, that sounds good. I mean, it sounds great. It sounds. I think we should talk about it as a committee fairly quickly and not in another month.
Yeah.
Because we really then we have to start this process of the writing the petition and blah blah blah. And pretty soon we will be it will be December.
Right.
And so I think trying to figure out how we can make this decision to do this. I'm sure Sally's on board. But maybe it's just some email exchanges or something that we decide that we're going to commit ourselves to do it. And then we start that process. Who's going to talk to Ian at select board?
He's looped in already. So he was on this chain and he's the one who connected me to the town clerk. So this should not come as a surprise, but I still feels like a courtesy you don't have to ask the select board for this, but it feels kind of adversarial if you don't actually just give them a heads up.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And one of us probably should be at the next meeting, select board meeting. If that's the protocol, Ian would know.
Yeah, yeah.
If we should do that or how we would do that. So, okay.
So that's my story. And there's other bits around, like this does not solve commercial, it doesn't solve industrial, it doesn't solve, I'm not sure Virgins has much like institutional stuff. So like we have a hospital, we have a college, and that's a whole different set of issues around how to help those institutions and those types of organizations make this transition. So this is like pretty focused on just residents, like looking and really focused on the thermal sector. But that's a huge part of how we're going to make this transition. So it feels like a good niche to be in.
Michael, when residents engage with the Energy Navigator, do they pay anything? Or how do they?
They just pay with their time, so it's all
Right.
free. And
Okay.
so we will, and the basic idea is that they contact us if they can get their act together. We'll look at their electric bill and their gas bills and whatever. They'll tell us some stuff about their house. We come to their house. We look in their attic. We look in their basement. We look at their windows. We've got some. We don't. It's really not an audit, but it's like a first pass. And then and then we talk at length about like what are their goals, like what do they like about their house, what do they don't like about their house, why did they call us, what are they trying to achieve. And then based on that, we will then write a report that has recommendations. It almost always starts with an audit. It usually involves weatherization, although there's been a fair amount of ink spilled of late that says like people do weatherization and then they stop, and that doesn't really help the climate problem. And so there's really pushing heat pumps, really pushing moving away from fossil fuels all around. And then we've got we've built a little system in the back end that basically records where people are in their journey, and then we reach out to them every so often. We try not to be annoying, but like just say, hey, we sent you this report a few weeks ago. Do you have any questions? What's your next step? Can we help? And just trying to keep the conversation going, which I think is another one of the elements that a lot of these programs are just like one and done. Like they don't develop a relationship. And so that's what a part of the secret sauce that we're working on is, like, how do we really develop these relationships? And I think having it be community based, locally based, really helps that be a relationship based project, as opposed to just getting some random report from Efficiency Vermont that clearly is a boilerplate thing and doesn't really speak to people's individual needs and interests.
I think that all of those things, first of all, that it's free. Secondly, establishing that relationship, and that it's a multi-stepped process that you can lead them through. I think that would be that's a good selling point, even for getting a signature.
Right.
I think that people will say, maybe it's not even for them. Maybe they're not thinking they're going to do it, but that is a great idea for people who wouldn't otherwise either be able to afford it or wouldn't know about it, or it's not on their radar. So I think it's a good selling point to the town, that it's, or to people in the town and to the town.
If it helps in other states that are kind of ahead of us in terms of these programs, these sorts of very high touch, very local, very community oriented programs are largely aimed at helping low and moderate income households, which have huge barriers to adoption in ways that like middle class, upper middle class folks just, they just are like, yeah, this makes sense. I'm just going to write a check. And so a lot of times these are linked with sort of equity and justice programs trying to say, we are trying to make sure that everybody comes along for the ride. This is not just about helping, middle class people continue to have comfortable lives.
Right. Especially with the prospect of energy prices going up drastically higher too.
Yep. Yep.
Might be, helpful.
From the town standpoint, these town energy plans, do you think it would be, because you wearing both those hats, so to speak.
Yeah.
Do you think that would be a good selling point to the town, that we have, now we have this town energy plan where hopefully we will, or we're going to get one, or it's coming.
Yeah, I think that
would be helpful to achieve those goals.
I think so. So I think that the way, as I alluded to, the state has set some very ambitious goals for 2030, 2035, 2050. And these are aimed at mostly at, the thermal and the transportation sector. And so this program kind of sort of speaks to the transportation sector, but it's really aimed at the thermal sector. And so, and it's not clear that these plans and these targets have any teeth. So it's not clear to me that they can actually like force you to reduce, have more heat pumps. They can't, the state cannot force people to put heat pumps into their houses. But there is pressure. The state has said, like, for us to achieve our goals, we need to stop burning so many fossil fuels. And eventually we have to stop burning them altogether. And that this program is aimed directly at that, to say, like, how do we take, and it doesn't happen, en masse. It happens like door to door. Like you have to go talk an individual into doing this. And so that's what this program is, to say, like, it's great to have these grand visions, but the way it actually happens is individuals have to go talk to other individuals and explain to them what the path is to get there. So I do feel like the plan will call for Bristol having X number of heat pumps installed. And then the way you achieve that goal is through these kinds of programs. And it's not going to happen all by itself. Like, it would be nice if we got a non-lunatic back into the presidency so the federal government would start doing this again. But in the absence of that, like, we're not giving up.
Yeah. That's good messaging. It may not resonate with everyone, but it is good messaging. No.
People that join energy committees usually nod their heads when they hear this.
Right.
If we don't, then we're in trouble.
That's right.
Just have to temper when we're
What are you
speaking with
talking
someone.
about?
Well, you
We're trying to
sometimes
get a
get
signature.
you sometimes get people that are here like just to obstruct progress. Like, it's not unheard of.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Thankfully, we have not experienced that. I don't think.
Yeah. I've been to your meeting. I've been in Holly Hall when you actually met in Holly Hall, and I've met many of your fellow members, and they're all on the right team.
I think so.
Yep.
Well, anything else, Michael?
I think that's it. So I think if you guys can sort out if you're down with this, and then let me know. I have recently retired, so I have like a remarkable amount of free time. So I am happy to support your efforts. So like if everybody's like, who's going to talk to the town clerk about getting the language right? I'm happy to, like, if you encounter barriers, I'm happy to like help out as well.
That's great. Thank you.
I'm writing that down, so you better.
Sure thing.
Yeah, this is being recorded too, so
Yeah, yeah. All good. All good.
Well, this is great. Thank you for, first of all, thank you for your patience. I really didn't mean to push you to the very end, but I thought, well, maybe Sally will come back on because she's obviously talked to you. And
Yeah, yeah. It's all good.
but anyway, thank you for presenting this and this idea, and I think it's a great one. And hopefully, I know personally, I am, and it sounds like Dan can come through.
Get those signatures. I love it.
I'd be surprised if we couldn't do that.
Basketball games are also excellent opportunities.
Mm.
Soccer games, football games, those are all like go to the schools that there's often large groups of people loitering about looking for something to do.
Like, here, sign this petition. Don't
That's
read it.
right.
You're not doing anything else. Sign your name here.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you again.
Okay.
And we'll be in touch.
That sounds great.
And in hopefully the very, very near future, because I think we need to get this going. So
Yep.
That sounds right. Okay. Thanks for your time.
all right. Thanks, Michael.
Okay.
Thanks,
All
Michael.
right. Talk soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So Dan, we done?
I think we're done. We
I'm
navigated
so sorry.
a,
I should have, I skipped over him and I thought, oh, we'll just talk about some other things until.
Yeah.
I feel like we probably kept him on too long, but anyway, but that was great. He actually, yeah, he spoke for half of our meeting time.
right, right. Well,
So we
get
have,
to
we
be
gave him a good forum anyway.
got to be the speaker, the featured speaker. I guess he was anyway, even if we had had a full house, but
So
and he was chiming in on the block grant thing too, so he's got the perspective from
yeah,
from also being on an energy committee, so that's great. So I think we're good. I'm assuming we didn't even talk about this at the start, but I'm assuming one of us needs to have notes. Did you take some notes for this, or do we? Are we
I
are we
took some
bound
very
to submit notes?
rudimentary notes, but it is all recorded, and I'm guessing Ben is going to transcribe it. I mean, I'm not transcribe the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
He's going to
Summarize. Yeah.
together the meeting minutes.
Okay.
for
Well,
this.
now that is on record as well on camera. So Ben now has to do it.
Okay, Ben, you're on.
We've invoked your name.
All right. Well, I'm kind of sad that more energy committee members weren't on the meetings because you know, if we were just talking about our usual, you know, approve the meeting minutes, blah blah blah.
Right.
But to invite somebody and then not have a fair turnout.
Right.
Kind of
Yeah, this was the smallest turnout I've seen.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, me too. And I was actually thinking that I might not be able to make the next meeting, so I do. I'm not really. It's actually. I may be away, so I feel bad about that now.
Well,
Okay, so let's try to reconnect through emails maybe on this.
yeah, I guess we need to really kind of summarize the Michael part of this, especially since it seems like we would have some rather imminent action items. Like you said, we don't want to wait a month to get the wheels in motion.
How do you want to do that? Do you think that we should send out an email or something, or talk to Ben, or
Yeah, either or. I don't. I guess sending an email to the group. Obviously, I don't know. Why not to the whole group, I guess?
It's kind
You
of
know,
weird.
Sally's
I
probably been
know,
in
it's kind of
contact about
strange.
it.
Yeah.
So it seems like if Sally has a little background on it anyway, we might as well, she may want to chime in, based on what she's conversed about with Michael.
Let's send a, I mean, I could do it. I could just send Sally an email and CC Ben and Richard on it. Say,
Yeah, that
can we
sounds good.
talk about, this? Um,
Yeah, we just get a little
I
thread
don't
going.
know if Ben or Richard, I don't know if they're dialed into this whole thing or not, but I think we should. Oh, I'll put you on there too, of course. But yeah, we should just send it to the Energy Committee and just say, so we had this presentation, and in order to get the Energy Navigator funded through the town as a funding source, I guess we'll say a sustainable funding source,
Mhm.
that we need to get these signatures and we need to get moving on it.
Yeah,
And so whatever, or maybe we'll get some members in the group to be, it sounds like Sally's already kind of dialed in, so maybe she wants to head that.
yeah.
Yeah, we need to have some way of talking about it. So maybe we'll just send a, do you want me to do that? Just send a quick email, just say we need
That'd be
to-
great. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll send it tonight when we hang up here.
terrific. That would be good. And it feels like, you know, a good, it's obviously short term. We're talking about something that's, what, 3 months between now and the end of signature gathering time. But maybe a nice little mission for the committee here in the
Yeah.
fall period, that could be kind of motivating for us too, to be kind of nice to have more than at town meeting day, have more than just the regular report submitted. You know, kind of adds a little, extra exposure to the Energy Committee and
Yeah, I think
that this
so.
kind of work.
We're looking at, we're sort of acting in several fronts,
Right.
especially since some of the things that we initiated are kind of stalled, like the EV chargers.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So what are we doing? What are you guys doing? Well,
We're waiting, just like you all are.
waiting for money.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's hang up, and you can add anything you want to whatever I say. I'm going to make it pretty short.
Yeah.
Just say, we had a really great presentation, and Mike had, and obviously Sally's going to know about this already, but Mike had, or the Energy Navigator project idea is to get the town to fund some of their activities for the town itself.
Right.
So, and give it a more sustainable funding source.
Yep.
I don't know. It might be. I don't know. Maybe there's so many asks every town meeting,
Right.
and every one of them gets passed. And I'm sure there are people who are like, "Oh my God, somebody else wanting more money." But I think the idea that these energy plans are coming out, and that besides that, it's the right thing to do, but also that give it like an incentive that, to try to meet these goals, we kind of need something like this, so that, the town can use it as more of a resource, and, really target, I don't want to say target people, but target getting people involved and looking at their energy situation, and making having someone to kind of hold their hand through this whole thing,
Right.
And getting people to put in heat pumps and all the stuff, which we all get. We will get credit for, I guess, you know, to meet that target. So,
Yep. Yep. I think it's
Um,
all good. And I think about the things that we have usually on town meeting ballot. Um, and off the top of my head, I can't think of any that are, you know, energy, climate, um, environmental related. And there's like river keepers, I think was one of them, but
yeah,
there's not too many. So it's kind of another category of ask too, which may, I mean, I guess it could go both ways, but it's kind of, it might appeal to a certain um, percentage of the population that maybe doesn't feel like we as a town are doing much or enough. So, but like you said, most of these things, once they make it to the ballot, they tend to get passed. So, but yeah, it's the right thing to do at the end of the day. Yeah. So,
all right, well,
cool.
let's sign off, and feel free to add whatever you want to the conversation, but well, I'll just get the ball rolling.
Great.